Imagine losing a war. Your cities are destroyed. Your economy no longer exists. Your people are starving. Now imagine this happens next to an enemy who wants you erased. This is South Korea in 1953. No industry, no capital, no resources, no time. In that same decade, dozens of countries became independent. Most of them chose freedom first. South Korea chose something entirely different, and today it manufactures the world. This is the story of how a destroyed nation became an economic superpower in a single generation. The Korean War left South Korea among the poorest countries on earth. GDP per capita was lower than Ghana or Kenya, 80% rural, widespread illiteracy, no functioning infrastructure. The government survived on American foreign aid, 70% of the entire budget. Without it, the system collapsed within weeks. But South Korea was different from other developing nations. North Korea existed across the border, armed, organized, supported by the Soviet Union. The military threat was immediate and permanent. So South Korea couldn't afford the debates other countries had. It couldn't ask, what are our values? It couldn't ask, how do we balance growth with equality? Instead, the state asked one question: how do we survive? Most countries that fail share one pattern. They argue first. They design ideologies. They debate identity. Should we be socialist or capitalist? Should we prioritize equality or growth? What are our national values? These are important questions. They deserve serious thought, but they take time. South Korea didn't have that luxury. There was no time to experiment with economic theories, no space for political romanticism, no room for the luxury of choosing principles over survival. The state made one brutal, clarifying assumption: growth is not optional. Growth is survival. Everything else was secondary. Not democracy, not freedom of speech, not political pluralism, not equality, not justice, output, factories, exports, foreign currency, technological capability. This wasn't cruelty for its own sake. It was mathematical. Without growth, the country starved. Without exports, there was no foreign currency. Without foreign currency, there was no way to import oil, food, or industrial machinery. Without those things, millions died. So the state made a choice: impose discipline now or watch the nation collapse. This single-minded clarity, this absolute refusal to compromise on the central goal, became South Korea's first hidden advantage. While other developing nations debated ideology for decades, South Korea built factories. While democracies held elections and shifted policy directions, South Korea maintained course. The system was uncomfortable, it was authoritarian, but it was consistent, and it worked. In 1961, General Park Chung-hee seized power in a military coup. Under Park, the state became radically centralized. Banks were nationalized to control credit flow. The state decided whether you deserved credit and what you could build. Opposition was suppressed. Journalists were arrested. Labor organizers were jailed. This was an authoritarian regime. But Park didn't use this power for personal gain. He used it for speed. Authoritarianism allowed the government to do things democracies struggled to do quickly. Force savings. Citizens couldn't spend freely. Everything possible was invested in industry. This created a massive capital pool for expansion. Direct investment. State planners chose which industries grew. We will build steel. We will build automobiles. This eliminated market chaos and created singular focus. Punish failure immediately. Factory managers who missed targets faced consequences. Companies that couldn't compete were shut down. No mercy. The state commanded the economy. This created extraordinary speed at enormous social cost. Workers labored in dangerous conditions. Wages were suppressed. Unions were crushed. Speed mattered more than legitimacy. Output mattered more than comfort. What took Britain 150 years took South Korea 30. South Korea made a decision most countries avoid. Instead of spreading resources thin, it bet everything on concentration. The state identified strategic industries and picked winners: Samsung, Hyundai, LG, SK. These weren't just businesses, they were instruments of state strategy. The system was called the chaebol, family-owned conglomerates that operated with explicit state backing. Here's how it worked. A chosen chaebol received access to state-directed credit at below-market rates, tariff protection from foreign competition, guaranteed government contracts, tax breaks for reinvestment. In return, the chaebol had to export aggressively, reach specific production targets, develop indigenous technology. The rules were crystal clear. You get support only if you export. The state doesn't care if your product makes Koreans happy. Export it or lose support. You grow only if you compete globally. Your company must survive against Japanese and German competitors. If you can't, you die. You survive only if you perform. Miss targets. You lose credit access. Your company collapses. Your family loses everything. This was performance-driven capitalism. Corruption existed, plenty of it. Favors were traded, bribes were paid, but failure was unforgivable. You could be corrupt and survive, but if your company couldn't compete globally, you were finished. The meritocracy of global competition overrode corruption. If your product failed in American markets, no government connection could save you. This created a system with built-in quality control, the global market itself. South Korea understood a truth most leaders ignore. A poor country cannot grow rich by selling to itself. The domestic market was tiny, 30 million poor people, minimal purchasing power. So the entire economy was designed around exports. Factories didn't exist to satisfy Korean consumers. They existed to survive global competition. This forced three critical things. Efficiency. Every process had to be optimized. Waste was visible and costly. The system developed obsessive attention to continuous improvement. Discipline. When competing against Japanese and German manufacturers, complacency kills you. Quality had to be obsessive. Deadlines had to be met exactly. Excuses were irrelevant. Constant improvement. The global market moved. Competitors innovated. Technologies changed. South Korean companies had to move faster, innovate harder, stay ahead. If your product couldn't survive in the US or European market, it had no place in the system. Global markets became the judge, and the judge was ruthless. It didn't care about government connections. It cared about one thing. Does this product work? Is it competitive? Does anyone want to buy it? This external pressure, this constant judgment by anonymous global consumers, became the system's enforcement mechanism. A government official in Seoul couldn't bend the laws of physics, but the market could, and it did. South Korea invested in education obsessively. By the 1970s, spending on education as a percentage of GDP exceeded most developed nations, but not for creativity or personal fulfillment, for precision, math, engineering, discipline, technical skills. Education wasn't about becoming well-rounded humans. It was about national output. Students were directed based on ability, good at math, engineering, showing manufacturing aptitude, factory management. The entire system produced workers the economy needed. This was meritocratic but harsh. Competition was fierce and constant. By the 1980s, South Korea had an engineering talent pool comparable to Japan or Germany, with far lower labor costs. More importantly, if you were poor but smart, education lifted you into the middle class. This created buy-in. People accepted the authoritarian system because they could see their children advancing. The country didn't promise happiness, it promised progress. South Korea proves a hard truth. Large nations don't fail because they are large. They fail because they choose comfort over discipline. South Korea reversed the order. Systems first, growth first, democracy later. It required suppressing dissent, concentrating power, sacrificing freedom for prosperity. Most countries never recover from choosing wrong. South Korea did, because it never pretended survival was optional. By the 1980s, when the country became wealthy enough to afford democracy, it transitioned relatively smoothly. It worked.